Today I'm going to show you how to actually repair the cartridge in a Moen faucet. Ours is actually getting a little bit hard to use here. It doesn't leak, so the cartridge is probably okay. What I'm going to do is use some hex keys to take it off. A screwdriver to pull out a snap ring, and then some of this plumber's faucet and valve grease to actually make it work better. If for some reason the cartridge was actually leaking right now, you could replace the whole thing using the same procedure. Alright, now I'm going to shut off the water under the sink. First we'll shut off the cold here. Once we get these guys shut off, then we can start pulling apart the cartridge. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is pull this little emblem off the front of the faucet. It allows us to get to the hex key inside. Next, I'm going to pick the right size. I checked, and it's actually a 3/32 hex key in here. So that's what I got in my hand. We'll slide it in there. Just broke loose. And we're going to unscrew it. This will get the top. There it goes. The screw came out. It's a hex key. And then the handle just comes right off the top. Now you can look and see the whole assembly and how it's kind of put together. Next we're going to unscrew this ring. So that comes off, which allows us to start getting into the actual area where the cartridge is. Next, if you look at the top of that, we've got a Phillips screwdriver that we need, and I don't have one, so I'm going to have to go and get one, so we'll be right back. Okay, I went and got a Phillips screwdriver. One thing I forgot to do too, when I took everything apart, I forgot to relieve the water pressure in here, so it'll spout out a little bit of water. I'm going to turn this on. Oh, actually, it's not a problem. Okay. So, if you scroll up here, you can see I'm just going to screw this Phillips screw on the top. Now that that's out, this whole assembly comes apart. Put that off to the side. And this cap then comes off. Just going to put that off to the side. And the next part that comes out is there's a ring in here that just pulls out. I'll show you that in a second. Okay, I forgot, you actually have to take off this black ring on it, so I've got a pair of channel locks, and just going to gently, it's all plastic, so you want to make sure you don't scuff it or anything. It shouldn't be very tight. I do that, and I can screw it off with my hand. And this allows you to get to that snap ring that's going to allow the cartridge to come out. Okay, now that that's off, I'm going to put it off to the side. And if you bring the camera up, there's a little ring here, and you can catch it with a screwdriver like this. Got a little Teflon tape in there from my previous time taking it apart. Ignore the Teflon tape. The little key looks like that, and it actually holds in the cartridge. So now that that's out, the entire cartridge should come out. So let me see if I can pull it up. No, that's right. It's got a screw out. Let me grab a pair of needle nose pliers. There's a tool that can help you loosen this up, but in my case, I'm just going to use some long needle nose pliers. Now that we've removed that clip out, if I just spin this a little bit, make sure that the cartridge is really good and loose. I'm just going to take a pair of channel locks and grab the top of it here. And then you can see we can pull out the cartridge. In my case, I've still got a little water running. I'm thinking oh, it's probably coming out of the faucet here. So what I'm going to do, I'm not actually going to replace this one. I'm just going to actually lubricate up all the seals and put new grease in it, and then we'll show you how to reassemble it. So I'm actually going to push out the inside of this cartridge so I can lube up all the O-rings that are in there. Actually a little hard. Let me see if I can use a screwdriver just on the top of it. There it goes. This one obviously needs some work. So now I've got the two pieces apart. I'm going to take and put some, this is just Faucet grease. And we're basically going to lube up all of those O-rings. Next step is to really put it back together. So first thing I'm going to do is slide it back in. I have done this before, and one of the problems that I do run into is if you put this together backwards, your hot and cold will be reversed. So we're going to probably do this once and then make sure that everything's in the right way. I'm just soaking up the water that came out. Put the clip back into it, so. Now I'm going to put that big black ring on it. Let me see if I can get the rest of the water out of here. Now we're going to screw this on. Use the channel locks a little bit here. Feels good. Okay. Now these two little washers that my videoing partner told me not to forget to put on. So put those guys on. And the next step is this ring that allows the handle to push up. I think that's, remember, I think it's the bigger part to the back. Next step is to put this on. It only goes one way. You know, that's not the right way. I think it goes this way. There we go. It's the big part to the front. There's a channel that these have to, that it has to fit in, and I keep missing it. Now we got it. What it amounts to is there's a slot on here, and it has to match up with wherever the valve is. So I think I got it right now. There we go. A lot easier to move. A lot easier to turn on and off now. And before I put the last two pieces in, I'm just going to make sure that I've got the water the right direction for hot and cold. So if you come down below, we'll turn back on the water. There's one side, the other. Okay. Now let's see, make sure we got hot on the right side and cold on the other. It's cold. And that's hot. I mean, in reality, if I've made a mistake, it's just a couple pieces apart, and should be easy to do. So we'll put the outside ring on it, and put the handle back on. And if I had some, I'd put a little bit of Loctite on the end of this. I don't happen to have any, so I know that does sometimes it helps keep it tight longer. There it goes. In reality, this is pretty easy to do, especially if you remember what the tools are. There were a couple that I've forgotten about that I needed. So it made it a little more challenging this time. Put back in the cover up the bolt. And there we go. Much, much easier to move and use. Just recapping a little bit the tools that we used. Now that I got all of them put together, ended up with some plumber's faucet grease. We used the one little screwdriver to pull out that ring. We used a 3/32 hex key. Pull out the main part. The needle nose help to kind of loosen up the cartridge, or you've got there's a plastic tool that Moen makes if you have the new cartridge kit that allows you to loosen it. Phillips screwdriver to pull out one of the bolts, and a pair of channel locks. That's it.